Hi everybody, Devin Rex for Art here. So I was enabled by Dee Dee Willingham to go to Walmart to do some back to school shopping, and I did find a few things. One of the things that I saw were these big erasers. They were 67 cents Canadian each, and that reminded me that I want to try stamp carving more. So I've carved 2 stamps in my life. And so I'm not an expert. I just want to show you, exploring that. So this is one stamp that I made. And then this is my logo that I have like on here. So that's how that was stamped. What I've used for my extensive experience carving 2 stamps was this kit that I had found at a craft sale, a garage sale, I should say. And it's a Stampin' Up! Stamp carving kit. It's very old. I don't think you can buy these anymore, but I know Speedball has stamp carving supplies. This was just very inexpensive. These are some blocks that I think I took off something else, and it came with 1 piece of the rubber that you can use for stamp carving and a foam mounting strip. So that's what I did for these 2. So you can see there's the rubber and there's the foam mounting. It's got sticky surface. And here is the stamp carving tools that came with this set. You can see this one is it's got a V notch here, right? And this one's pretty fine. I think this one is a little bit bigger for those bigger areas. You can see that one is also, it's more of a broad U type of notch. So that's all I've used and all I will continue to use. And I have seen people use erasers for carving stamps. So I'm going to try that today. I don't know if there's a difference in types of erasers. I just liked these ones because they were a nice wide surface, bigger than a regular eraser. 2 3/4 by 1 1/4. So here's my erasers, and they seem to be pretty soft. When I was unpackaging it, my scissors sort of nicked the surface, so I'll have to be sure to incorporate that in my design. Speaking of designs, last night I was just sort of brainstorming some ideas on my very messy sheet here. So I was just doodling out just a bunch of ideas. And I think I'm going to try to do, I don't know if this is crazy, but one on this side and one on that side. So one person that I know does a lot of carved stamps is Mary Atelier. I think Dee Dee Willingham has done them in the past. So definitely if you want some pro tips, check out those. I will link them below. I think what I'm going to do is I kind of like this plant. I also thought that these Zentangle would make a good stamp. And this one here, I thought these glasses were kind of fun because you could use them in mixed media for lots of different applications. Decide between this one, that one. The first step is taking your design and transferring it to your eraser. So I'm taking out some tracing paper. I think Mary just draws right on her eraser, but I'm going to transfer mine. So what should we try first? What am I feeling? Something not too hard. Let's try this, this shape here. I think that would be pretty simple. Let's not get too crazy. So I'm just gonna trace it out. All right, so that's pretty good. Just gonna transfer that by just rubbing it. And I just wonder if my bone folder would be a good, just make sure you don't move it. Otherwise it'll smudge. Let's see, did that work? Yeah, there we go. All right, so here's the bigger tool. And I'm going to try to go in at an angle just so that I don't cover what I'm doing. So I'm just going to do sort of a rough cut around. I think I could probably get closer. So you're carving out what's not going to have ink. You don't have to follow your lines like exactly, like you can alter it on the fly a little bit. And here, I'm just gonna actually turn my eraser, kind of like fussy cutting. So fussy carving. And these are sharp, but they're not crazy sharp. This eraser is actually cutting very easily, kind of like butter. So there, I got most of it out. You could use a, you could probably use a craft knife to cut out the remainder, but I'm just gonna do it this way. Actually, let me cut the those little detail ridges first, and then here's the smaller one. So that's the one that's more of a V, like a V knot. This one's more detail. So I'm just going to, so I'm anchoring my hand on the eraser, so I'm not just kind of carving in free space. So I'm anchoring it there. And here, I think, yeah, I'm just going to turn the eraser. And you know what? I'm not exactly on the line, but I think that's okay. This is a Zentangle. It's not have to be super precise. I can't remember the name. I think this one's called Gutz, G-U-T-Z. And you can do like a whole bunch in a row. I think I did this pattern on my last Instagram post. I did like a Zentangle. I didn't show doing this actual one, but it's incorporated in that piece. So this rubber is really cutting easily. I'm wondering how it's going to pick up the ink. Now I'm, instead of turning the eraser, I've started turning my arm. So either one works. I'm making that one just a little bit wider. It's a bit narrow. And every time I'm just removing that little piece and throwing it in the garbage. I'm gonna put garbage closer. So I've made some adjustments here for where I'm carving. I'm not being super strict on following the line. I'm noticing as I go, I'm like digging deeper. So my ridge is getting thicker at the bottom, which in this case, because it's a Zentangle, that might actually work to my advantage. So I'm just gonna keep doing that, and then we'll stamp it out and then make adjustments. So, because I wouldn't expect it to stamp out perfectly after one, after the first initial carve, I should say. I know Mary does lots of adjustments when she does hers. And this is actually a pretty good one to start with. It's a good warm-up because it's very simple design. Hopefully it'll be simple yet effective. All right, so got all my little channels carved. So I'm gonna go back to that big one, and we're gonna put this on quick speed. I just cut off this end here because it's not very sturdy anyhow. Work so hard to get all that off. And I'm not disrupting this surface here. All right, back to removing all this excess. Be very careful. Let's give it a stamp and see where we're at. I'm just gonna... You can see where it inked up. I'm gonna have to carve those down, but let's just go ahead and see how it looks so far. All right, so that's pretty good. I might want to try to make this a little bit rounder. Maybe trim a little bit there. I just think that's too much of an angle. And maybe this back side, maybe trim a bit more off there. And of course all these little pieces. So remembering, so when I do that, I lift it up. What was on the bottom here is actually on the top. So here where it was very pointy, that's this part. So that's where I want to trim it a little bit. So I'm going to bring it a bit closer so we can both see it. So right there, I'm just going to kind of try to just take just a smidge off. Sometimes I wonder if this set, because it's used, it might not be as sharp. Definitely I think a sharp blade helps you if you're doing like super detailed stamps. There, I think I like that. Maybe a bit better. And then the other area was here on this edge, so right there, that little notch there. So let's try to get that. I think I got it. While I'm here, I'm gonna do those little high pieces. And where else? Oh yeah, the back part. This part here doesn't look very round. I think I'm actually gonna use my big one for that. I'm gonna just kind of try to go especially this corner here. I don't know if it's cutting. Yeah, there we go. Try to cut off that section. Now it's a bit square there. Let's use the detail one. Hope I'm speaking loud enough. I notice in a lot of my videos I'm very quiet, which is kind of my nature. So I think I either have to speak louder or maybe get a different mic. So right now I'm doing all my videos on my iPhone. Right now I'm probably loud enough because like I'm kind of peeking over my iPhone. So my mouth is probably right beside the mic. I'm probably like super loud. And you guys are like, what's she talking about? She's like really loud. Okay, I might have over corrected that one. I don't know. Feels like it's getting worse. Let's just do one more pass. Just try to do it all at once. I don't think I'm crazy about that. Oh well, we'll see how that goes. All right, now I'm going to get all these little pieces here that we're getting ink over here. Right, so I'm going to blow that off and then, oh wait, there's one right here too, right there. So I don't want to go too low on this because I don't want to ruin the integrity of the eraser because I still want to do something on that side. Okay, I think there's still going to be some to remove. Let's give that a try. So see how that side's kind of choppy? I'm gonna try one more time to smooth that and then maybe adjust this little section there. I think that's as good as it's gonna get, and then try to get these little edges off. This far edge could be because this isn't centered, so when I'm pushing down, I'm rocking it a little bit. So maybe I'll take my X-Acto knife and just do very carefully and watch your thumb. This is not for kids. See how I'm not putting my thumb up here, I'm putting it down there. So if I slip, I'm not gonna slip into my thumb. And I'm going super slow, and you need a sharp knife. Dull knives are more likely to slip. All right, so it's hard to see, but this edge is kind of yucky. All right, take 2 or 3, take 3. So right here is where it doesn't quite join. So I'm going to try to be decisive. Probably part of the problem is this rubber it's not, meant for stamp carving. It's an eraser. So I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you are an avid hand carved stamper, if there's a specific eraser brand that you prefer to use. You're probably watching me going, what is this lady doing? And you know what? I'm just having fun. I'm not pretending, I'm not trying to pretend I'm an expert. I'm just showing you, what I'm learning. Maybe inspire you to learn more about something that perhaps interests you, and just try it. I mean, what's the harm in trying something? So it's not as good as so-and-so down the street. Who cares? Who cares? Just have fun. Just have fun. So here I'm just carving down the bits that have a bit of ink on them. I want to be really careful going here. I think I like this broader tip. It seems to, maybe it's sharper. I don't know. Now, ideally, I would be a lot closer to my work, but because I'm filming it, I'm having to kind of peek over the my iPhone. So right here, I'm gonna have to be careful. I don't want to cut that. But just right there, there's a bit of ink. I think I'm happy there. That's from the other time I stamped. So it's pretty good. I think it's not perfect, but it's a hand carved stamp, so it's not supposed to be perfect. This little section here, so you see that is this part here. So I'm just going to do that. And then I think I'm happy with that. Okay, one more little spot right there. All right. So now that you have your hand carved stamp, you can do your own patterns. So I'm gonna just kind of, oh, what the heck? I got a whole bunch there. I think it's because, I think it's because it's so long. You know what I might do? I might just cut this. Oh, I should have done a design. So tip, make sure your stamp matches the size of your eraser, because I think I'm going to have to cut this off, and then that's going to make this one smaller too. But I think it has to be done, people. I think it has to be done. So I'm going to cut it, I think here. Sorry, eraser. And I think this is a similar issue. It's like rocking, so I'm gonna just angle that. Again, please be careful with this, people. I'm going slow. I'm not pushing hard. I'm gonna move my thumb out of the way totally there. Oops. If anything, this gives you an appreciation for those all those stamps that you buy. You realize that they probably put a lot of work into making them. I mean, what do I know? I don't know. Okay, and let's try that again. All right. So just to review, I'm just going to do one more. I'm going to cut that out, make a tag. Let's just do one final assessment. I thought it was pretty good, but there. So there's our stamped image. You can see there's a little smudge right there. So if we look here, yeah, just a little piece of the, so I'm going to wipe that with a baby wipe. I'm going to keep playing. I don't think I'll record the rest of the stamps, but maybe I will make a short little montage of some of the other stamps that I made. So I've been playing for a while, and these are the summary of the stamps that I ended up doing. This was the first one, which was actually pretty easy. So that was that one that I showed you. The rest I did off camera. So this little simple repeating pattern. Well, pattern that you can then stamp in a repeating pattern. Or on its own. You could make like, I could stamp it and I could draw little wings. It could look like a little owl. Like, you know, it's your imagination. And then I did these little cute little glasses here. And then I did this little plant. This one looks complicated. It's actually quite easy. A little plant there. And I did them all the same way, where I traced my doodle and then I carved out. This one was the most difficult one. And I only did it on one side, and this is the reason why. So I noticed when I was stamping and I had two sides, when I'd push down, I was worried that I was, you know, my nail would dig in and damage this stamp. So for the price, it might be better just to do one side, and then you don't have to worry. Also, because, you know, this one has a direction, it would be nice just to have one side and maybe just draw what the stamp is, so you know which way you're going, because one time I did stamp it backwards. I found that if you centered it more, you didn't have to worry about as much of the wobbling. And then I thought, well, this carves really easy, but it does, like, you can damage it pretty easy. So just my fingernail there. So like I said, if I'm pushing down on the one side, my fingernail could damage that stamp. So I don't know if these are the longest lasting stamps. I thought, well, maybe a regular eraser would be better. But same thing, like your fingernail, maybe it's a bit more resistant than these really cheap erasers. So maybe that would be a better way to go. And then I thought, what if I purchased more of this type of block? So I'll show you my research on that. I went on Amazon, and this, you could get one 4x6 of the Speedy Carve for almost $10. you could get a starter kit. That might be the way to go, is to get like a starter kit. Again, these are Canadian prices, so US you'd probably get even a better deal. But here it looks like you get 2 cutters and a 4x6, which is similar to the kit I got, but I got mine at a garage sale. So that might be a way to go. You could also get these other brands, which aren't Speedball. So you could get 4x6 for $20. Again, that's Canadian. I did a little bit of math. So I figured when I measured it, 6 erasers you could make fit in a 4x6 of this eraser, that is. So I paid $67 for each eraser. If I did one side each, that's, 6 stamps. Or if you do both sides, you're coming out to, double that. So let's say you just do one side. So it's about $4 for 6 stamps, or to fill out a 4x6 area. The Speedball definitely is one side only, and it's $10 for 4x6. So it's cheaper to do the stamps. But the other brands, you could get a 4-pack of 4x6 for $20, which is about $5 for 4x6 area. So if you're only doing one side of the stamp, that's pretty comparable. If you're doing both sides of the stamp, especially if it's like a project where you think, I just need the stamp and then I don't care if it gets wrecked, I don't need to keep it long term, then sure, just go ahead and, do it on an eraser and then use it to erase things or throw it out. But if you want to keep it a little bit longer, you might want to invest in that. Also, if you decide, I'm not sure if I'm going to like it, you could buy the starter kit, kind of like what I did, and then do some erasers and then decide, yeah, I do like this, I'm going to buy some of the good stuff. So anyhow, so this one is a good sort of shows all the different stamps that I did. This one I liked a lot. I think I tried to make it so you could repeat it seamlessly, and I think that turned out well. And I'm just going to add these images that were sent to me by Jane Literick. And so those obviously aren't hand carved stamps. Those are, real stamps. So I'm going to glue that on there. I just think it's kind of makes a cute tag. So these look like Diane Reevely stamps for Delusions that Jane sent me. I could be wrong. Jane, if you watch this video, you can let us know where you got these cool stamps. She stamped it on book text, so that I just feel like that was pretty fun. Stamped this with archival ink, and then I had sprayed the tag with, I believe, these 3 colors of Delusions. What colors are they? Crushed Grape, Vibrant Turquoise, and Fresh Lime. Stitched around the edges, and I added some ribbons. So I just have to glue down those images, and that's one tag done. The other one I did, again, this is an image that Jane Literick sent me. It's really fun. So I wrote the quote, "People will stare, make it worth their while." And that's a quote by Harry Winston. And on this one, I had used, this was the stamp off sheet when I was testing the stamp here that I was carving. And I just took that piece and I just did some spraying with Distress sprays and Distress Oxide. And then I mounted it on black cardstock and just did some doodles with some gold pen and put on a funky piece of fabric with a safety pin. So that was kind of fun. And then I was playing with the eyeglasses stamp. These index cards from Walmart that come in these neon colors. And so I used the yellow color card, and I used my glasses stamp, and I did some embossing. So here I used the picked raspberry with clear embossing powder, and then I used just the Versamark, which is clear, and the Distress glaze to get the 2 different tones of pink. I stamped it out on a white piece of paper, and I cut it out, and I added on the background, on the yellow, I added a little bit of some Paul Rubens Neon Opera. I moved mine to a tin, one of my Jane Davenport tins. I sort of cram all my half pans in there. So I just used some of those colors. The last one I did was on the green index card. I had stamped a bunch of my little plants, and I did a similar thing where I used clear embossing over tumbled glass, and then I used Versamark with the speckled egg, and then I used some of the prize ribbon and salvage patina to, you know, colorize it. And I did that double resist technique that Colleen, the scrap chick, and Kathy Berg had demonstrated. I can't remember who they got it from, but you can watch their video. I'll link it below. It looks better when Colleen did it. She used white embossing powder. I wasn't really planning on doing that technique, so I wasn't thinking ahead, I guess. So here, I just like it feels really good. It's not very noticeable. I don't know if you can see that, but it feels cool. And I looked up a quote, and I drew a little cat with a just on the orange index card, and I colorized him, and it's every cat is a tiger in disguise. So the other thing I see people using their hand carved stamps is on the jelly plate with acrylic ink. So I might try that. I didn't really have time to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate any likes, any subscribes, any shares, and I enjoy sharing what I'm doing. It's not really anything new, but it's my experience learning different techniques that I like to share, and maybe it'll inspire you to try something that you've already done and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about doing that. Or maybe it's something you haven't seen and you might want to give it a try. So anyhow, I appreciate all of you and have a great day. Bye.